Welcome back to my channel. So I recently got first place at the I Am Nerd Locals, yeah, with a very cool deck. So I just wanted to show it off. So yeah, as you can see, that's Gemini, but a slightly different version from all the versions we have seen before. So yeah, this deck is called Gemini Beat. So it's yeah, I saw a build in the Edison Discord by Kukurinknu. Yeah, shout out to you. And yeah, I took the list, changed like 3-4 cards, a few cards in the side deck, and yeah, I tested the deck a bit, and I think the deck is a real sleeper deck. It's really good, and this build yeah, fixes a lot of problems that the original Gemini deck had. So yeah, the original Gemini deck was running Gigaplant and Lonefire Blossom and Nettles Blazewing Butterfly. Yeah, it was more combo oriented to be more explosive, but this deck is plays only like the beat sticks. Yeah, it might be not as explosive, and it focuses more on Gemini Soldier. So this card is the heart of the deck. Yeah, this deck tries to get him out as early as possible and win the game by resolving him ideally multiple times. So yeah, what this deck fixes is the low monster count. So the problem with the Gemini deck is if you draw too many monsters, even with this deck, if you draw too many monsters, because yeah, the Gemini mechanic is like has a lot of issues because it's so slow. Yeah, you need one extra turn. Yeah, this is why we need Ultimate Offering, for example. This makes the whole deck broken, for example, and yeah, but having all those Geminis without Supervise or Ultimate Offering makes it really slow. So yeah, this is why we focus on a lot of spells and traps, and then yeah, just bringing out the Gemini Soldier and attacking multiple times, and then you have interruption, you have a lot of spot removal. Yeah, we run Trap Stun, for example, to get him through. Yeah, I think this list is really cool. I will yeah, show off the replays later from that tournament. Yeah. Yeah, anything other than that? Yeah, the Dragon's Mirror, for example, this is a really cool tech. Yeah, he had this card at 2 in his list, but I think this card needs too much setup, so I never want to see this in the opening hand. But it's a really nice card. It helps you to unbrick if you have a hand with a lot of Geminis, so they immediately become effect monsters. Yeah, we run 2 Book of Moon, for example, because we are playing more of a beatdown style. We need them to run over monsters also. Yeah, this deck is actually quite good into Vayu Turbo and Blackwing, so mainly against Vayu Turbo because we don't really care that much about the flip monsters, about Raikou, stuff like that, and we have a lot of spot removal, so we don't get blown out that much by cards like Dark Arm Dragon and stuff like that. Yeah, also this deck puts up a lot of pressure early, which can be slightly annoying for Vayu Turbo, for example. And yeah, against Blackwing we play the double Styler Drought, which is always good, and Gemini Spark also to yeah, block their summons. Yeah, so if you don't know how this deck works, so yeah, as I said, it resolves around Gemini Soldier. So if this card is so first of all, the whole Gemini mechanic, as most people probably know it, but you need to use your normal summon to make them effect monsters. So yeah, if he's an effect monster and he battles, so if he battles against a monster or even attacks directly or stuff like that, you summon a level 4 or lower level 4 Gemini monster from the deck. So yeah, the nice part is he even summons if he doesn't destroy the monster by battle, so you can run into opponent's monsters. He activates in damage step, which is really nice. So this deck is quite good into oppression. It is not weak to oppression. Oppression only stops like a few cards like the synchro plays and the reinforced truth. So I think the bird decks shouldn't even bring in oppression. And if they bring in oppression, if you have this already out, the whole card is dead in my opinion. Yeah, if he battles and then in damage step he summons something. The nice thing as well is he summons in damage step in sub-step 5, so he activates one sub-step before cards like Raikou, Didi Warrior Lady, so he always trades well into Raikou. Yeah, and he even summons if he's destroyed by battle. This is also very important. Most people don't know this, and this is also a strength of the deck, so the surprise factor. So, for example, if your opponent has 2 monsters, your opponent will probably try to attack twice over him, and he will summon out twice, and then your opponent is like, what the fuck, are you cheating now, or stuff like that, and then you will have 2 summons, and yeah, you have a full field. Yeah, so he's really, really annoying, and he wins games on his own, so this is why we play the triple reinforced truth to get him out early. We also play the Rota, and so we have like 7 copies of him. Yeah, this is why we also play Junk Synchron as a tech card, because we have the access to him is so high. Yeah, the next best Gemini is Dark Valkyria. She's like a breaker for monsters, so she can pop, and with Supervise, yeah, you can bring her out multiple times with Gemini Soldier as well, and you can pop a lot of monsters, so this can get out of hand very, very quickly. Yeah, Tuned Magician just becomes a tuner, so she's yeah, important to have access to your synchro deck. Yeah, you can also make strong synchros like Dark and Dragon with the Valkyria and Brute Drago and stuff like that. Yeah, and then you can protect your back row. This deck really needs to protect its back row. This is why we also run the double Stylet Road. Yeah, the Cavalier, he can pop an equip spell to pop any card. Yeah, if you have a Gemini already in grave, he becomes a +1, which is really nice. Yeah, so we play like a beatdown style deck. He's at 1900, all other are at 1800, so yeah, you really try to attack your opponent like with Hero Beat, for example, and yeah, all those monsters also run over Grepher, which is nice. Yeah, then the Junk Synchron, yeah, we play triple Gemini Spark. This card is probably one of the best cards in the deck. This card in general is so broken. Also, we have this nice interaction with Dark Valkyria and Supervise and Gemini Spark. So if your opponent, for example, starts with a very normal T set, if we now summon the Dark Valkyria, our opponent has like a problem. If we have to Supervise, it's best for him to bottomless, because then we could pop his monster. But by bottomlessing her, he runs the risk of getting Gemini sparked. So this is like a dilemma for the opponent. So either we have this card and pop the monster, or we get the +1. So yeah, this interaction, in my opinion, is also really strong. Yeah, we play triple Upstart. Yeah, I think Upstart is really important because we want to draw into the cards that we want to set immediately, like Ultimate Offering, Reinforced Truth, yeah, stuff like that. So we don't want to run Legacy, which is like 1 turn slower, and then we have to set the card. We need to have our setup early, because yeah, this deck needs to get out early, because we also need to have high life points to run into your opponent's monsters with Gemini Soldier and to pay for Ultimate Offering. So yeah, having high life points is really important in this deck. Yeah, as I said, the Book of Moon, this is also a little bit of pre versus the Frog decks. yeah, very important versus the Duplock. Yeah, also it's nice to book down absolute zeros, and then you can pop them with Valkyria, and the Ab Zero won't trigger. Yeah, this card's also okay against Stardust. This deck has a little bit of a problem versus Stardust, so you could run like more Deep Prisons, but yeah, your opponent has to attack into the Deep Prison, which is a problem as well. So yeah, this is why we also run the Deep Prison in the side, also for Gladiator Beasts and Shura, Blackwing and stuff like that. Yeah, so we have a lot of interruption also to stop our opponent. Gemini Spark, Book of Moon. Yeah, then a heavy trap lineup with Staples, Bottomless, Solemn. We don't run Dust Shoot in the main deck because this deck sets down a lot, and it trades resources really, really early. So oftentimes we get into a low resource game. So obviously Dust Shoot is broken, so you could just run it in the main deck. But if you start with set 4 and maybe summon a monster, your opponent is also forced, or not really like completely forced, but it yeah, it enables your opponent to also set a lot. So then Dust Shoot becomes dead. Yeah, as other than that, yeah, Ultimate Offering, this card is the most broken card in the deck. All your Geminis become effect monsters, so this can get out of hand very, very quickly. So for example, if you get two Gemini soldiers out and then you resolve them, you go like +3 or 4, and you do so much damage. Yeah, this card is broken. Also, if you haven't checked out my Ultimate Offering video, so there are some really cool tricks you can do with this card. For example, you can pay a certain one more than you have summons, for example. It sounds a bit weird, but for example, if you have 2 Geminis in hand, and you have this card face up, you pay 5 times in a row. So if this card is face up, you can chain it multiple times to itself. So you could just pay up to chaining 5 with this card, and then the chain will resolve backwards. So they will get summoned, and then Gemini summoned, and the last thing to happen is the last Ultimate Offering payment, where you don't summon a monster, and then your opponent can't torrential or bottomless. So those tricks can really, yeah, fuck up your opponent, especially players that don't know this. Then, for example, they show you their bottomless and stuff like that, and yeah, that's really strong, obviously. Yeah, trap stun is so important. I think this card also really makes the deck. So if you trap stun their Deep Prison on this is so good. Yeah, and Deep Prison, because we have problems with Stardust. Yeah, the side deck is also really important, and yeah, also very unique. So we run Swordsman level 2 because we can bring him out with Reinforced Truth or search him with Rota. So yeah, against Vayu Turbo, also especially against Machina Control, where they need to resolve their flips, this card is really, really good. And with Offering, for example, you could summon this and then put this next to the Gemini Soldier, and then your opponent is in really big trouble. Yeah, Grand Mole versus Stardust Dragon. Yeah, because we have so many problems with Stardust. Also, this card combos really well with Ultimate Offering. So if you have this face up and Grand Mole, your opponent can't attack you directly anymore, because he attacks, you pay, you summon him, he bounces the opponent's monster, and then your opponent tries to attack with his next monster, and then you summon him again. So this is really annoying. Yeah, Imperial Iron Wall, because we don't really banish. So our engine doesn't really banish. We have only Bottomless, Deep Prison, and Dragon's Mirror. Yeah, and this card is really strong versus Hero Frog and Vayu Turbo, so yeah, can solo those matchups. Dust Tornado versus Blackwing, mainly Gladiator Beast. Yeah. Dust Shoot versus decks with high monster counts, going first. 3 pulling the rug, because I think our worst matchup is Frogs, because a Monarch on the Gemini Soldier is devastating, so we need 3 pulling the rugs. Also nice versus Gadgets, Machina Hero, stuff like that. Yeah, 2 Deep Prison versus Glads and decks that make Stardust. Yeah, also I had this come up at the IMNet tournament. You can do some mind games where you, for example, I played against Hero Zombies, and game 2 I had this in, and I noticed my opponent was siding in Skill Drain and siding out Chaos, so I put those out in game 3 and put in the Deep Prison again, so my opponent saw this in game 2 and he attacked with Stardust into Deep Prison, so yeah, this is nice. Compulse was also versus Stardust, and Vayu Turbo, of course, and Pachi against Frog decks and Plant decks. Yeah, so this is the deck. The extra deck is standard. We can make this with Valkyria. This because we play Geminis. This is nice with Junk Synchron, and the Arcanite we can make with Tuned Magician and Junk Synchron. Yeah, other than that, yeah, nothing else to say. Yeah, let's just hop into the replays. So we are starting off the tournament versus Jinzo OTK. Yeah, let's just start with the replay, and yeah, then you can see how this deck works. So yeah, we mainly want to resolve the soldier. We just go in. I don't know what our opponent is playing. I know what he's playing, but I don't get the Fusilier. But okay. Yeah, so we just want to resolve him, and it's okay to run into monsters to take a little bit of damage. Yeah, and as you can see, if our opponent can't get rid of the soldier, it's okay. He had a very bricky hand, but if you can freely attack with him, it's very, very strong. Yeah, and with Gemini Spark you can also clear a lot of back row, so this is also good. Okay, we have the Bottomless. Okay, our opponent Solemns. Yeah, Kaiku is not that good into our deck. Yeah, also another good thing is this card gets under Bottomless and he summons in damage step, so and Bottomless doesn't do that much if we have Gemini Spark you, so you will take a -1 if you Bottomless. I think this card is not really good into Gemini, so yeah, so but most people don't know how to play against this deck, so okay, now we are quite low, so we have to wall up a bit. Yeah, and I think okay, our opponent is smart enough to clear the Valkyria. Okay, now we have our own Solemn, and yeah, and as you can see, yeah, Gemini Spark in this deck is way more consistent than, for example, in Hero Beat, where you because you have this toolbox card in Gemini Soldier where you can immediately bring out Gemini, and we also play way more Gemini, so this card is way more consistent in this deck. You rarely have those dead hands with Gemini Sparks without Alias. Okay. Okay, I think we had to concede. Okay, our opponent has a very dead hand, but he has Storm. Interesting, but he decides not to Storm. Yeah, maybe he wants to set us to set more cards, but okay, now he storms. Yeah, but okay, the smashing ground is annoying. Yeah, here the Junction is really good. In some matchups, this card is really good. In others, you will side it out. Yeah. Yeah, and here you can see how strong Valkyria is. Yeah, popping a monster for +1 is always really good. We even make his scores live. Yeah, but being able to always bring something out with the soldier is really strong. So yeah. So the next replay is against Tim Pontes. Yeah, another or the main ultimate offering expert. Yeah, he's really strong. Okay, interesting. He's playing a very unusual list. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you have to set the soldier and sit behind Deep Prison and Bottomless. Yeah, luckily we have the road to protect our back row. Yeah, the main thing about this deck is just to resolve this the soldier because he will win games on its own. So okay, this is very interesting chain. Yeah, but our opponent goes so minus. Yeah, he probably even didn't even need to use the Raigeki break, but yeah. Yeah, and here you can see this combo is really strong. Okay, he has Sengen, but Spark of course is very very good. Yeah, and we need the triple ruck for the frog matchup because it's quite hard. Okay, I decide not to pop his monster because it's frogs, so yeah, I can keep her at 2100. Yeah, and if this card is face up, you can chain it to itself, or you can even chain it to Mystical Space Typhoon or Dust Tornado. So yeah, Tim Pontes he had to trap stun and standby to play around this card, which is also quite strong because then his back row was empty. Yeah, and we again take the +1. Now we can normal the Tuned Magician and make Stardust Dragon. Yeah, you make Stardust quite a lot, or you get Stardust out with Starlight Road. Okay. Okay, Okay, luckily we have the book. Okay, we have to concede. Yeah, the frog matchup is difficult, but also in the side deck you have a lot of other options. For example, against frog decks like junk frogs and stuff like that, you could even play like Royal Oppression in your own side deck, because we are only really blocking the Reinforced Truth, so and our soldier still works. Yeah, our opponent has quite good hand, even if he's getting dust shooted. Yeah, and this is why I said you need the life points as a resource. We always need to attack with the soldier even into bigger monsters. Yeah, and the rock is extremely good. Yeah, here book is quite good, so we can play a little bit more aggressive ourselves. So yeah, next replay I think we are playing against Vayu. Okay, but a weird version. Yeah, and this is exactly what we want, so you will see the soldier will trade for +1 into the Raiko. And we even have the supervise tool to pop in main 2, so if you get this engine online and then you have supervise and Gemini Spark, this is really hard to beat with a full back row especially. Yeah, and our opponent doesn't have anything to stop this. Yeah, and as you can see, I have to supervise and Gemini Spark, so this combo is really good. Even if he had bottomless, I would spark his hamster. Yeah, attacking here is not the smartest because we have to. Yeah, I had the iron wall in my hand, so I had to use my Gemini Spark for no reason, to be honest, just to do damage. Yeah, and I'm playing into Gauss. Okay, I'm not using the effect. Yeah, sadly the iron wall got popped. Yeah, and this is not looking good. Yeah, this deck is not the best in coming back. You need to control the field presence. Um, yeah, this is why I play Upstart. You need to get your important cards in turn one. Coming back, being behind is sometimes quite hard. Yeah, we said everything here. Yeah, sometimes this deck plays a bit like Gladiator Beast. You sometimes really need to set your back row even if you don't have road. So you need to set your trap stun, your reinforced truth, all those cards for the next turn. So if your opponent has heavy, he has heavy. So nothing you can do. Yeah, here you see how broken trap stun is. Okay, this is smart. We pop the Prodigy to play around Caius. Yeah, the mole is also really strong here. Yeah, every time he resolves, he's... Yeah, this card makes the whole deck so broken. Yeah, that's GG. So the next round we are playing versus Hero Zombie. Yeah, and this this is like the perfect hand. If your opponent doesn't have Storm, we are only really missing like Starlight Road. Yeah, so we set everything for next turn. If we don't get Storm, we just win. Okay. Yeah, we could have flipped this in end phase. Because you want to have this face up while you have trap stun, so you can chain this face up, the face up offering to trap stun to still get your summons. But yeah, but we are safe to attack directly, so the soldier is doing his job already. Yeah, and he's even attacking into him, into the soldier, but it honestly didn't really matter. Okay, we sided this in versus the recruiters. Yeah, against decks like zombies, if your opponent sees this, he might side out some recruiters, so then maybe you have to side this out again. But yeah, against decks like Machina Control, where they can't really side out the hamsters, this card is really good. Yeah, Road also good. We can search a beat stick. Yeah, anti-deep prisons, and we take the +1. Yeah, and those here you can see some of the tricks you can do. You can use ultimate offering in your opponent's battle phase. So if he redeclares, for example, we could summon the Gemini soldier, and then he has to attack into the normal summoned or Gemini summoned soldier. So we could summon something out from the deck, and then yeah, we get a plus again, and yeah. Okay, yeah, we tried to make Stardust. We could have played around Torrential by paying a lot of times, but then we have to use the Swordsman. Yeah, maybe we didn't want to do that, but we probably should. We also should have compulsed the soldier probably. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, we have bottomless. Yeah, but this is looking bad, but we have to compulse for the starters actually. Yeah, compulse is so broken against all the decks that make starters. Yeah, mole as well. Okay, we lose to brain control, yeah. Playing into the torrential was like, yeah, sometimes this deck, you need to think through your actions a bit to make those plays. Yeah, this head is also almost perfect. We just need Gemini Soldier access. Going for set 5 with Gemini Spark and all those back row is really hard to play into for most decks. Yeah, we take the +1 again. He's bluffing the Gauss, which is quite smart. Yeah, and here you can see how broken offering is. Yeah, all your Geminis become effect monsters immediately, so if you have 1 or 2 or 3, then it gets so out of hand. Yeah, this is easily GG. So we are playing against Igara again in winners final. Yeah, this here you can see some of the problems of this deck. Full monster hand, even though we only play 11 monsters to not have this. So if we don't have offering, you are just playing vanillas. We probably should have summoned one of those guys, probably the Cavalier, because he can't really run him over with Stratos and stuff like that. Yeah, but still, this is not so good. Yeah, and we even get Dust Shoot. This deck luckily is also quite resilient to Dust Shoot, because we play so few monsters and we set down a lot. Yeah, and we keep drawing monsters, and our opponent has Torrential again. Yeah, and now Yeah, he has return. He just goes for game, but we have the drops done. But yeah, Igara, he realized how good Stardust is, so he's obviously very good. Yeah, and here you can see this deck, how it struggles versus Stardust. So this is why we need the Compulse and Mole. So yeah, we rely a lot on Valkyria to pop monsters, and and if he has Stardust, so he blocks Valkyria. He also blocks Gemini Spark. So yeah, this is very annoying. We do a play with the Raptinus to clear his monsters, but Stardust runs over both monsters, and then he has Miracle Fusion. So yeah, we just lost to Stardust, I would say. Yeah, so we brought in the Iron Wall because it's zombies for Kaios and stuff like that. Yeah, and the mole. But as you can see, he brings in the skill drain, which is correct. So I believe he sided out some number of Kaios, so Iron Wall isn't that good anymore. Yeah, I think you only really want to side in the Iron Wall where it really blows out your opponent against decks like Vayu Turbo, especially the Nitro Vayu deck where they really need to banish stuff. Also where they have less removal without Raikou. Against zombies, I'm not that sure. Okay, we attack. Yeah, but he has the skill gen, but we have the Gemini Spark, so yeah, he Raigeki braked in main phase, so we could just reborn the Gemini Soldier with Supervise and then normal him, so he still has its effect. So yeah, those are like some advantages you get by playing like unknown decks. Yeah, we kept in the Iron Wall, I'm not sure. Later on, I will take this card out and put in Deep Prison. Yeah, we attack, we are checking, maybe he wants to Deep Prison, but in Battle Step we Gemini Spark. Okay. Okay, we play around Bottomless. Okay, sadly Esther does Tornado. But we still trap stun to keep the offering. Okay, we compulse. Yeah, and skill gen really wrecks us. Yeah, skill drain plus starters is almost impossible to out for us. Yeah, we just need Deep Prison, so later on I will bring in the Deep Prison. Yeah, so we lose this. So yeah, this is the last match. Yeah, he noticed how weak we are to Stardust, so he brought out the Stardust immediately. Yeah, now he's smart, he's not attacking with Stardust. So we just lose. Yeah, but he started with Future Fusion, of course. Okay, we set 2. Fully. Okay, he doesn't even have deep prison. Yeah, he left in the bottomless again. Okay. Yeah. And now, since he saw the Imperial Iron Wall 2 games, he thought like maybe I sided them out, so he attacks into deep prison. Yeah, that's annoying, but he's very low on cards. Okay, we're playing around Torrential. Okay, he has to concede. Yeah, we draw a really nice hand. Opponent has Dust Shoot, but okay, we now draw a monster. But still, this hand is very, very resilient to Dust Shoot, because the most important thing is to have Reinforced Truth turn 1. Yeah, offering as well, and all the traps. So we have like everything we need. Okay, we don't Dust Tornado, because we want to keep it for a skill drain. Okay, yeah. But we get hit by Deep Prison. Yeah, now we are actually quite down, quite bad. But he doesn't have that much. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, this is really strong with Gemini engraved. This is a +1. Yeah, and now double Spark with 2 Geminis. Yeah, and we just normal here and pop his Grapher. Yeah, here you saw quite well how the deck just works. Yeah, Spark is a really good card, and yeah. So thanks for watching. Yeah, if you want to see more videos on this deck, you could just like the video, or yeah, if you have anything to say on it, yeah, just comment under the video. Bye.